He partnered with the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority on this event. Well, over in Hollywood, a neighborhood gem with 78 years in the business is about to get even more famous on the street. We're talking about Pink's Hot Dogs and the newly named Pink Square.
Nothing like songs from the 30s and 40s to give you that old-time feeling. Singing and dancing was on the menu for the day as Pink's Hot Dogs celebrated its 78th birthday.
Hot diggity dog, we're celebrating Pink's.
I don't care if it's Pink's birthday or half birthday or if it's a month celebration, any excuse I get to come to Pink's to have a hot dog.
Yes, there's all the dozens of varieties of loaded Pink's hot dogs, but there was an extra reason to celebrate all that pink. Councilmember Paul Koretz and other city leaders unveiled Pink Square at the corner of Melrose and La Brea Avenue in honor of the iconic Hollywood restaurant.
Pink's is such an institution in our community, and it's such a great American dream story.
My mom and dad, Betty and Paul Pink, started Pink's. You know, it was during Depression. They had to borrow $50 from my grandmother, which was very fortunate, to buy a pushcart.
Pink's has since grown from a $50 pushcart to a Hollywood icon.
Pink's has been featured in movies, TV shows, Food Network, the Travel Channel, and countless travel blogs, books, and top 10 lists.
Even Martha Stewart, the queen of high-quality living, goes for a hot dog now and then.
She pulled right in, waited in line 30 minutes, came to the front. Martha Stewart waited in line, and then she created her own hot dog. So we asked her if we could put that on the menu, and she said yes. The Martha Stewart hot dog is an all-beef stretch hot dog that snaps when you bite into it, and it's got chopped onions, chopped relish, chopped tomatoes, sauerkraut, sour cream, and bacon on it.
Which makes us wonder, why would people wait in line for a hot dog for half an hour or more?
Because it's a hot dog.
You can get a hot dog anywhere.
No, this is the best hot dog.
Yes, we've been coming here since we started dating. Yeah, so 16 years?
Wow. So why do people wait in line for a hot dog?
They have really good customer service, and their hot dogs are great. And their fries are really good, too. So we bring the kids.
I like their chili hot dogs and their plain ones.
So when your mom says, where do you want to go, you say?
Pink's.
In the Food Network.
It's on Food Network?
Yeah, so that's how we've seen it.
I have been coming here since the 1960s and the 1970s, and it's the best hot dog in town. I love it.
Well, if there's a line, it's going to be good.
No hot dogs, you say? You're a vegetarian? Well, that is no excuse. Pink's has regular dogs, turkey dogs, and veggie dogs.
When you go to Pink, there's a lot of wows. And when there's wows, people hear about it.
A lot of wows and about 40 varieties of celebrity-themed hot dogs to choose from. Or maybe you will want to create your own wow and come up with a new combo of hot dog toppings all your own. Happy 78th birthday, Pink's.
Now get this, to celebrate, Pink sold hot dogs for 78 cents for a total of 78 minutes, with proceeds going to charity. Well, from chili dogs to barbecue, a group of downtown property owners honor the men and women who keep their neighborhood safe, while also saying goodbye to a longtime leader.
Thank you.
Lunch is on the house for some downtown heroes.
We don't run around looking for handouts or pats on the back, but when it does happen, when somebody does pat us on the back and say, good job, we appreciate you, it does go a long way.
This is the 19th annual Downtown Business Improvement District Luncheon, honoring those first responders that help make downtown Los Angeles safe. It is free to all law enforcement personnel, also emergency response.
We want to bring attention to the extraordinary work that they do.
By the time the story airs, Carol Schatz has retired as the longtime president of the Downtown Center Business Improvement District. That's a coalition of downtown property owners investing in the area's unprecedented growth and safety improvements.
And it would not have been possible without the support from LAPD, from the fire department, from the county sheriffs.
Her final public safety barbecue dedicates proceeds to the LA Police Memorial Foundation for Fallen Officers.
We pay for the funerals. We send the kids to college. And fortunately, we haven't lost an officer for several years, but we still grant about $500,000 a year.
We want to show respect, and we want to honor their service.
And honor your service too, Carol Schatz, retiring after nearly 30 years as president. Here's to the future, yours and downtown's.
Congrats to Carol for all of her hard work. And as Gil mentioned, the barbecue raised funds for the LA Police Memorial Foundation. More info is available at lapmf.org. A new photography exhibit explores the defining moments and key players in the Chicano rights movement of the 60s and 70s. Rasha Goel takes us to the Autry Museum for La Raza, where art and activism come together.
The La Raza publication ran for only 10 years, but had a profound impact. The bilingual newspaper was published from 1967 to 1977 and gave a voice to the Chicano rights movement. And today, those compelling images are on display as part of the La Raza exhibit at the Autry Museum. Now retired, Jose Erazo was a former co-editor of La Raza from 1968 to 1972. He gave me insight into the exhibition that features more than 200 images shot by photographers that captured the activism of the Chicano movement, which helped inform residents of political issues and how they could advocate for change. Seen here as a younger man, he says the paper was more than just a publication.
Because we had no representation in either the media, which means radio, television, or the movies. That's why we started a newspaper, to give a voice to the community and also to educate our people regarding social, political issues that existed in our community. The exhibition, it's educating the public about some of the various issues that keep arising. There are 2 or 3 issues that are never going to be going away in our lifetime, and that's poverty and discrimination and racism.
Stanford graduates Eli Risco and Ruth Robinson founded La Raza in 1967 as a platform for community organizers. It was sold by subscription, but free for those who couldn't afford it, and often found in local libraries. Razo says while we see the photographers' work, it was a collaborative effort to get the word out.
The photos over here show a number of photographers, but we had scores of other people that were involved, that were actually doing the organizing.
One of the key issues of this movement was education. Back then, young Latinos weren't given many options. For example, women were encouraged to become homemakers instead of pursuing further studies.
You can be a home economics major, learn how to cook, learn how to serve plates and so forth. And if you want to work, you can be a secretarial class. So very few of us were geared to go to college, which is academic curriculum.
But that was just one of the issues the Latino community faced, along with lack of employment, police brutality, and others. The exhibition's short-term goal, Razo says, is exposure, but long-term is to really educate the people, which can serve as a resource for educators and students. And his personal message to all of us, especially the youth:
60,000 Hispanics turn 18 every month. Every month. Now they have a responsibility to vote. If they vote, we can change the whole system in the United States.
La Raza will be on display until February of 2019 at the Autry Museum. For dates and times, visit theautry.org. Traditions of the Far East come alive in the West as Hollywood welcomes a new neighbor that highlights the beauty of Japanese culture.
Think of this Japanese robot that greets you near the door as a sort of international ambassador. Japan House has been open for 8 months now, bringing a Far Eastern touch to the Tinseltown atmosphere at Hollywood and Highland.
I've always thought that Japanese culture is kind of more inherently creative than some, like seem to go about things in a different way and come up with really beautiful classic ways of describing things and putting things together.
Visitors can get a dose of culture immersion at the library and the salon for screenings and workshops. There's also a restaurant, a shop, and a hands-on interactive gallery. This is a place that invites Angelenos to try all things Japanese.
We want people to experience Japan with the five senses, to see, to hear, to smell, to touch, and eat.
Japan House was created by the Japanese government, but it's received support from council member Mitch O'Farrell's office. So why LA?
Los Angeles, the city of diversity, it has the capacity to accommodate and enjoy different cultures.
According to Japan House and its president, the Japanese were among the first to start 3D printing. And look at these 3D printed objects. This is an interactive exhibit. And when you touch the sensors, you actually get them to move. Pretty fun, right?
I think that anything that will help bring people into learning more about history is fantastic. And people love technology, they love robots, so if they can take that and then help them to learn about a culture, that's brilliant.
And while we're talking about robotics, the Japanese have an edge there too.
Robotics is worldwide, right? But then the Japanese robotics has a long history dating back to 400 years ago. It's a mechanized doll.
Who would have thought this mechanized doll would become the prototype for the modern-day robot? By the way, admission to Japan House is free.
LA is home to one of 3 Japan House centers in the world, joining London and Sao Paulo. Well, Dodgers fever is running rampant this week, and we caught up with the LA Dodgers Foundation as they hit their goal of building 50 Dodger Dream Fields for LA's young sluggers.
The LA Dodgers Foundation and their fundraising teammates opened their newest youth ballpark for underserved kids.
It feels like an especially exciting game day for us as we celebrate the 50th Dodger Dream Field. Wow, congratulations.
Dodger skipper Dave Roberts cheering on the completion of the newest Dodgers Dream Field at Algene Sutton Rec Center in South Los Angeles. As promised, 50 youth stadiums have been built over the past 15 years. In fact, the very first Dream Field was also built at Sutton Rec Center. The charities of Dodger heroes Clayton Kershaw and Yasiel Puig pitched in to pay for the new one, a token of appreciation for hometown fans.
And we love to do this to the kids because the kids going to be the future for this community.
Dodgers legends Steve Garvey, Ron Cey, Manny Mota, and Steve Yeager also here, mentioning the importance of more ballparks in inner-city neighborhoods.
Giving the kids something to do, keeping them out of trouble, give them something that they can work together and accomplish something. So it's a beautiful thing.
Councilman Marquise Harris Dawson represents the area.
Oftentimes, when you see our community on TV, it's not necessarily in a positive light. And so the fact that the people we watch every day on television, our local heroes, thought enough of us to not just show up today. They were here when we did the groundbreaking. They wrote a check. They brought their families. And they tossed balls around with us. That means a lot to us.
I think that they show very good support about the field. They show very courageous thoughts with us. Let's get the World Series this year.
The LA Dodgers Foundation has a new goal to build 25 more Dream Fields by 2033. That would make 75 Dream Fields to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Dodgers' move to Los Angeles. The mayor kicks off a new effort to help young people find good-paying manufacturing jobs. A new project will make bus stops safer and more accessible in Hollywood, and plans get underway for a new equestrian trail and more recreational space at Lopez Canyon. All these stories in City Beat. Mayor Eric Garcetti kicked off a new drive to equip young Angelenos with the tools they need to secure good middle-class manufacturing jobs as part of a partnership between the City of LA, manufacturing, and youth organizations. The mayor said young Angelenos from all backgrounds deserve to find their passion, discover their talents, and get good-paying jobs that put them on a path to the middle class. And that this partnership will give them the tools and training they need to put that opportunity within reach. Los Angeles City Council member Mitch O'Farrell and the Bureau of Street Services broke ground on a $2.5 million project that will improve safety and access to transit stops along bustling commercial corridors in Hollywood. The project will improve accessibility at 14 area bus stops and install 43 new ADA-compliant curb ramps along Sunset Boulevard, Highland Avenue, and Vine Street. The project also includes new bus stop lighting, continental high-visibility crosswalks, and new trees. The project is expected to wrap up next summer.
The reality on the ground is that we're making the 13th District safer and more accessible for pedestrians, as evidenced by this new improvement.
Equestrians and hikers will soon have a new staging area and trail at Lopez Canyon. The City of LA broke ground on plans to develop a portion of buffer land surrounding the Lopez Canyon Environmental Learning Center for public recreational use. Planned to be developed on land owned by the City of LA, the Lopez Canyon Equestrian Trail and Trailhead project provides a recreational area consisting of a staging area and a 1.5-mile two-way trail. The staging area will consist of approximately 4 acres of land offering a picnic area, parking for vehicles and horse trailers, a water station for horses, as well as a bioswale, simple landscaping features to slow, collect, and infiltrate runoff from the site.
As the city of Los Angeles moves away from landfills and towards cleaner and greener solutions, projects like this will help improve the environment and the air we breathe.
Does Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, or Space Invaders bring back fond childhood memories? Well, they do for me. Union Station transported visitors back in time for the ultimate arcade rewind.
For 2 days only, downtown's Union Station brought back some of your favorite arcade hits from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And you didn't need quarters to play. The games were free. David Barrayo brought his daughter.
Her generation's more the one I was telling you, the phone. So I'm trying to introduce her to the old school games.
No smartphone games at Metro's Retrocade experience. Instead, it had 40 of the top button-mashing, joystick jamming hits from the golden age of gaming, with games like Mortal Kombat, Donkey Kong, and Pac-Man.
So she's getting a taste of what we grew up with.
It's great because you've seen a lot of people here today, especially the parents, people that are my age with younger kids, and they love to be able to share that joy because, I don't know how many arcades are still prevalent out there.
The folks at Metro hope events like Retrocade will score bonus points with visitors and help turn Union Station more into a destination rather than just a place to pass through in between trains.
This is a place where parents can come and hang out with their kids and share something from their childhood.
Game over, but look out for more special events at Union Station coming soon.
Union Station hosts many other special events like Retrocade, including film screenings, concerts, and art exhibits. Well, celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Autry Museum with Willie Nelson. Come out for the Fall Festival at the original Farmers Market and head out to the LA Public Library for a very special celebration. All this in this week's Things to Do. To commemorate its founding in 1988 as a museum dedicated to telling the diverse stories of the American West, the Autry will hold its 30th anniversary celebration. The event honoring late museum founder Gene Autry will feature a private concert by Grammy Award-winning recording artist Willie Nelson. In addition to this special performance, festivities will include a cocktail reception, an elegant dinner, and dancing under the stars. Gene Autry will receive a very special tribute as founder of the museum. With its opening, Autry realized his dream to build a museum which would exhibit and interpret the heritage of the West and show how it influenced America and the world. The celebration takes place Saturday, October 13th at 6 p.m. at the Autry Museum, located at 4700 Western Heritage Way. For more, visit theautry.org/celebrate. The original Farmers Market's oldest and most beloved celebration, Fall Festival, which was established in 1934, returns, signaling the start of the fall harvest. Fall Festival is a family-friendly weekend jam-packed with crafts, games, live music, a petting zoo, and more. Fall Festival has its roots in the earliest days of LA's favorite gathering place and the agricultural history of the city itself. The festival originally launched just a few months after the market first opened. Open to the public, the weekend is full of exciting activities for guests of all ages. And to really get the kids into the spirit of the season, Mr. Jack-O-Lantern's Game Zone will feature pumpkin bowling, candy corn hole, pumpkin decorating, pumpkin putting, an RIP ring toss, and pumpkin knock. All the fun happens October 13th through the 14th, starting at 11 a.m. at the original Farmers Market in LA. Join the fun to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Central Library's grand reopening in 1993. Grab some swag, including a free commemorative enamel pin. Work on an art project or tour Central Library's special collections. View rare and unique items that the library has acquired since its founding. The fun takes place on October 13th from 11 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at the Central Library. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane. From all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org and check out our newest social media videos, LA This Minute. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. If everyone could please take their seats. Today is Tuesday, October 9th. Welcome to City Hall. Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Would you call a roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson, 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Martinez moves, Price seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
O'Farrell moves and Weezer seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, today is Tuesday and it's time for the flag salute.
Okay, Mr. Englander, can you lead us today? If all would please rise for our flag salute.
I would be honored. And as we place our...
Okay, you're disrupting the meeting, you're disrupting the meeting, sir. And we're going to do you're disrupting the meeting. Sergeants, we're going to do the pledge. This is my last warning to you and to others. All rise so we can do our flag salute. Okay, sergeants, let's remove the gentleman in the orange shirt. I'm just drawing a blank on his name right here. Let's remove him from council so that we can begin our... No, you are disrupting the meeting. You're disrupting the meeting. You're disrupting the meeting. You're disrupting the meeting. So let's have him removed. This is about disrupting the meeting, so, sir, take your disruption outside. Yes, sir, you're continuing to disrupt the meeting. All right, now, let's all rise. Okay, we have another disruption. Sergeants, if we could remove this gentleman as well.
President, they're still trying to remove the individual, and Mr. Herman is now also disrupting the meeting and yelling out, as he was doing with the last individual.
Okay, sergeants, let's remove this gentleman so we can begin our work for today.
Thank you, colleagues. As we place our hands over our heart, we're reminded also of the tremendous sacrifices our soldiers and their loved ones have paid to make the freedoms we have, including the freedom of speech, and to redress the government, the most powerful country in the nation, and so divided today. We salute our nation's flag. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to recognize just briefly Mr. O'Farrell for an introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I would like to introduce my brother visiting from Norman, Oklahoma, Mike Farrell, sitting right there next to my partner,
Give
George.
him a round of applause. Welcome to Los Angeles.
No. Well, welcome, Mike. This is the People's House, and you've had quite the weekend. He was here to join us for Indigenous Peoples Day, and what a wonderful celebration that was. So thank you, and welcome.
Wonderful. All right, let's go through the agenda.
Business is approval Mr. President, to continue 16A to November 6, 2018.
So ordered.
Also, the Department of Building and Safety requests that 16E is reduced to $356.16, and 16F is reduced to $5,111.86, sir.
Okay, without objection, so ordered.
Continue. Items 1 through 15 are items for notice for public hearing, and there are cards for all 5 items, sir.
Items 1 through 5, correct?
Yes.
Okay, do you have cards?
Yes, sir.
All right, continue.
Items 6 through 16 are items to which public hearings have been held. The corrected report for item 13 has been posted and circulated for council's consideration. And also, items 16B through J are items where the Budget and Finance have submitted without recommendations. Motions are required for those items, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Buscaino?
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Mr. Bond, I'd like to continue 16I. I as in Ida.
Okay,
for
without
30 days,
objection.
Sir. 30 days.
So 30 days would bring us to November. Wait, what 30 days will bring us when?
November 6th, sir.
Okay, so that was right. Okay, continue. Let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, let's move to the next section.
Items 17 through 26 are items which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required, sir.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before this body. Let's, do you have cards?
Yes, Mr. President. There are cards on 17 through 26, sir.
All right, let's continue.
Mr. President, that takes council back to presentations. Items called special or general public comment, sir.
Mr. Weezer, are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, sir.
The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And Councilmember Cedillo, I want to thank you for such a beautiful ceremony you had last week in honor of your late wife, Ruby Cedillo. It was a very meaningful presentation we had to kick off Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I also want to thank all of the council and the public for joining all of us to continue to raise awareness about how we could all participate to combat cancer. And today we are here to announce a campaign to raise funds for the American Cancer Society's Real Men Wear Pink campaign. And that is a campaign that we hope you could all participate in. I am joined today by Dan Whistling, Real Men Wear Pink Executive Director, Adriana Serrano, and Sharon Hall from the Real Men Wear Pink campaign. I do not know many people who have not been affected by cancer in one way or another through their family or close friends. And certainly many of us here in council have given those testimonies. But in 2018, we do know that a cancer diagnosis of any kind should not have to be a death sentence, as it once was for many. Medicine and treatments have advanced to provide promising and lasting results, and early detection is key. More work and support for these promising treatments, patient care, and education are needed. Last week, we heard the devastating numbers of how women are affected with breast cancer. And today, we are joining with the American Cancer Society to remind people, and in particular men across Southern California, to step up and be part of the solution to fight breast cancer. The Real Men Wear Pink campaign is a spin on the Raiders football team's Real Men Wear Black. We've seen these T-shirts throughout the area, and they are very popular. And today we are saying to men, we don't care if you are a Raiders fan or a Rams fan or you hate football, you can all join this campaign. We are asking men here in council and across the city to stand with women in this effort to protect our mothers, our wives, our daughters, our sisters, our friends, and colleagues from breast cancer. 41,000 women lost is just unacceptable, and we can do better, and we need your support. As I said earlier, both Councilmember Cedillo and I are participating in the Real Men Wear Pink campaign. You can donate to us, or you can start your own campaign or support your friends. The goal is to raise $80,000 through the month of October, so please participate today. Go to realmenwearpinkacs.org/Los Angeles, California. That's realmenwearpinkacs.org/Los Angeles, California. You can find me and Councilmember Cedillo there and support this worthy effort, or you could start your own campaign as well. And now I'd like to turn it over to Councilmember Cedillo.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to take a brief second, thank my colleague, as I call him Don Pepe, for this opportunity. So last week we started this campaign to paint the city pink, and we did an incredible effort to initiate it. As you know, we did City Hall, Grand Park, Staples, Coliseum on the USC campus, UCLA, I'm getting there, save the best for last, LAX, and we had an incredible experience at LAX. We pulled up, we were looking for opportunities to take shots, and we pulled up on the entryway, and of course the security and the police came right away and said, get out of there, what are you guys doing? We explained what we were doing, and we met this incredible officer who shared with us that he had just lost his daughter last year to cancer, and it was a very moving moment for us. And it was just part of this community that Councilmember Huizar and myself are fortunate to be a part of, that there is a community of people, independent of politics, who just believes in self-help, who believe in building community, who believe in generosity as a form of community. And so we're just fortunate to be part of it. I'm happy to be here this morning. As Mr. Huizar reminded us, cancer does not have to be a death sentence. In fact, as I was trying to express last week, it really gives us an opportunity to appreciate life, to live life, to have a deeper understanding for the meaning of what is valuable and significant and important and what is not. And these efforts are really part of an effort to build community, to bring all of us together around a common enemy, having a common vision that we can all unite for a greater good, Mr. President. And so I'm just really pleased with what we're doing, the progress we're making, the awareness that's coming to families. And I think $80,000 is a modest goal for this city council and this city, and I am looking forward for us, Mr. Huizar, to go way beyond that. So thank all of you for your time and attention last week, and thank you, Councilmember, for continuing this effort.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Thank you very much, Mr. Cedillo. And now I'd like to welcome Dan Witzling, Real Men Wear Pink Executive Director for this region. Welcome, Dan.
I want to thank you all very much and let you know American Cancer Society, we're aiming to end cancer In this century, we've been at this game for more than 100 years. We feel like we're getting closer and closer towards the finish. I am here as a father of 2 girls, as a husband, as a son. On behalf of all of the women in our lives, we felt that not enough men were stepping up for this cause, and so the Real Men Wear Pink campaign was created by volunteers, for volunteers, to really energize our country around this cause. We appreciate everything that you're doing and wanted to thank you for your time, your effort, and your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so we'd love to recognize the American Cancer Society for the Real Men Wear Pink campaign that you've started to ask men to step up to help fight breast cancer. And so on behalf of the city, we want to present you with this resolution, thanking you for your efforts. And let's reach our goal of 80,000 for this month. And Mr. Cedillo said we could do better. We will do more. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Okay, let us again thank you, Mr. Huizar and Mr. Cedillo. Let's go directly to item 17. Like I indicated last week, we'll have public comment on this. I'd like Jamie Garcia, Hamid Khan, Gina Viola, please come forward. Yes, ma'am, the floor is yours.
So, good morning. My name is Jamie Garcia. I'm with the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. So, as we move forward today, I think it's really important for council members to really listen to the community, maybe stop with some of their looking down, and pay attention to the fact that people are very concerned about this initiative that you're setting forward, that you're actually limiting our ability to protest, to say no, to use our bodies to say we are standing up for our communities. Instead, I realize that your sensitivities, your egos are what driving this initiative or this motion, where you can't tolerate maybe disruption for certain parts of of people that are present who are using language that you don't like, but get past your egos and realize that communities stand up for themselves, stand up and protest when things are being passed that they don't want. And really, again, I want to say that you're laying down, part of this motion is really bringing about more surveillance for us while we walk through these chambers.
Thank you. That's your time. Now, if I could get the other people, please come forward and identify yourself. Ma'am, your time's expired. You're now disrupting the meeting. Everybody gets 1 minute. Everybody gets 1 minute. You are disrupting. Everybody gets 1 minute. Can I have the next speaker? Can we have the next speaker? Let's remove her. Sergeants, if we could please remove her. We want everybody to be given a chance to speak. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She's disrupting. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. She's disrupting. Next speaker, please come and identify yourself.
My name is Hamid Khan, and we will continue to disrupt. What we saw earlier, you booting people out, is the criminalization of protest, because you don't even have the gumption to acknowledge that there's dignity in rage, there's dignity in protest. People are dying out there. Because what you're doing is you're silencing all of us. And the irony is, looking at Nui Martinez, Marquise Dawson, I'm not going to look at white folks over here, Curran Price, and many other folks who have touted and pimped themselves by saying that, I went through this struggle. Where people before them disrupted this very body, that's how they got there. People before them laid their lives and were kicked out, that's how they got here. And shame on you people. You were talking about young Latina women last week and talking about that the struggles that they have gone through, they got there not because of your leadership and what you're doing here by silencing people. They got here because they fought, they disrupted, that they put their bodies on the line. Don't do it, Marquise. Don't do it. You've been on the other side. You claim as a social justice activist. Don't let them do it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Your time. He's disrupting, so let's ask him to take his seat as well. Thank you. Just have your seat, sir, and let's have the next speaker. Next speaker, please identify yourself. Next speaker. Yes, ma'am.
Gina Viola is my name. This motion is an attempt to silence the public. In your facts and findings, you indicate that disruptions have recently increased. This tells me that the public doesn't feel like it's being heard here in this council. And that's exactly what it should be telling you, too. These disruptions have not deterred me from coming to these meetings. On the contrary, it has alerted me to the absolute need to be here and to help the public be heard by you. It is clear the public is not being heard by you. This motion is a move towards an authoritarian regime. This is not the Los Angeles I want to live in and raise my children in. You are constantly boasting about our diversity and the diversity of this council. Diversity takes listening, it takes disruption. What have we been doing the last 2 years as we watch our federal government erode into something authoritarian?
Thank you. Thank you.
You need to listen.
Thank you. Next speaker, and I'll be looking for Adam Smith, Audrey G., Craig R., and General Dogan. Please come forward and state your name.
Audrey George. We all come to meetings like this and hear speakers who disagree with us in ways that seem to ignore facts. We often feel annoyed and irritated, but we respect their freedom of expression. Many of us come and have to listen to hateful and ignorant speech that is appalling, abhorrent, and even frightening, but we don't want it shut down because we don't want to be shut down. Many of you council members come here and feel challenged by speakers who demand accountability or call you out as cowards and hypocrites. But you should still listen with an open mind because we are your constituents and members of communities who have been harmed and disrespected by your policies and neglect. We have the right to address you, and if you are attentive and open, you might even learn from the facts we present, the well-reasoned arguments we put forth, and the logic of our thinking. Keep on listening and stop trying to shut us down. We have a constitutional right to educate, annoy, and even disrespect you, and we won't be stifled. It's a right, not a privilege. Vote no.
Thank you. Next speaker, please come forward. Let's keep it down so we can hear the next speaker. Yes, sir.
My name is Adam Smith from White People for Black Lives. There's 8 of you sitting here. I don't know where the rest of everybody is. Yeah, you need to vote no on this. Even the obvious, free speech part that's really obvious. The fact that we know who gets criminalized and over-criminalized, black voices, brown voices, when you leave things like this that are going to be subjectively enforced, we know who's going to be silenced and who's going to be kicked out of this room. It's shameful that this is even up before all of you. Yeah, vote no.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please identify yourself.
Craig R. from the Los Angeles Community Action Network. I'm here to advise you of the fact, that you don't seem to know, that you already have all the authority you need under the present rules. There's no need for these draconian measures of 1 day, 3 days, 6 days, and all this other nonsense. You need to stop criminalizing free speech. It shows your patent, absolute disrespect for the people. Marquise Harris Dawson, you especially should be ashamed. You too, Herb. What's up with this, Curran Price? Are there black people, Hispanic people, gay people who claim that they believe in the rights of the people, they identify themselves as part of the people, and then they come up with bullshit like this? You should be ashamed of yourselves. Shame on you. The people need for you to vote this down. Don't be cowards. Do what you know is right and vote this shit down.
Thank you. General
Dogon, LA Can. I'm here to encourage a no vote. Folks, this motion is selective. There's nothing in here that keep you in check. For example, there's nothing here that make you start the meeting on time at 10 o'clock. There's nothing in this motion to keep you off your cell phone, off your computer, and having those sidebar conversations, right? People have a right to be angry. When you look at the state of the city, you got the highest homelessness in the nation, the highest police shootings in the nation, the highest everything, right? And it's going down on your watch. You're the worst city council members in the history. People have a right to come in here and be pissed off. You know what I'm saying? They should be pissed off. I'm surprised the building ain't burnt down. You know what I'm saying? Do your job, man. You know what I'm saying? And do it right, and you ain't got to worry about people coming in here cussing you out.
Thank you. Next, I'm looking for Donna, Trudy B., Wesley Walker, Eric Previn.
I'll start on 17.
17.
Yeah, I got another shirt, Trump shirt, Nuri. Anyway, thanks, Eric Garcetti and the City Council. Wonderful motion. Yes, along with my co-conspirators. It's great to pass it. Let's expand it with friendly amendments, shall we? No speaking for illegal aliens. Proof citizens should be able to speak. Important. Only voters should be able to speak. How about homeowners get 2 minutes to speak and the others only get 30 seconds. And the most important friendly amendment, only moral, upright citizens certified by the City Council shall be allowed to speak at your meetings. Still free speech, right? Pass it and watch yourself being sued, then you will have to reopen Van Nuys video conferencing. And I will be back. I will join them. Reopen Van Nuys video conferencing. Very important. It's another way that you're shutting us up. Thank you, and I'm going to go on to my public comment.
No. We're just doing this 1 minute now. So please identify yourself, and then I'll be looking for Mr. Gus, Victor Trujillo, and George Bazzuti. Yes, ma'am.
Trudy B., LA Can. I just want you folks to note that in the 4 weeks that you've been discussing this, no one has come up here to say that this is the right thing to do. I don't believe there has been one person to come into these council chambers and tell you guys this is the right thing to do. So you need to consider that. If you've got folks that are coming up here every single week saying we will not be shut down, and no one's saying, oh, this is the correct thing to do, then maybe you need to think that this is something that you need to vote no on. Gagging the people that are here, and General Dogon made an excellent comment when he reminded you guys that we come up here and listen to laws that you guys pass.
Thank you.
That affect
Thank you. Your
us
time's
negatively.
expired, Miss B. If I could get the next speaker. Thank you. Next speaker, please. Identify yourself, sir. Let's listen to him. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Wesley Walker, and I'm a member of the Los Angeles Community Action Network. My name is Wesley Walker, and I'm a member of the Los Angeles Community Action Network, and I'm here to, Angelina's rejecting the denial of their constitutional rights. I'm a member of military a long time ago, and I served my country just for this reason, freedom of speech, freedom to protest against wrong. I could call out several members of this city council, but it wouldn't do any good because you know who you are. You need to stand up for your constitutional right and ours as well. It doesn't do anybody any good not to protest.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please. Identify yourself.
Good morning, Daniel Gus. I have a column in City Watch. Council members, you have an outbreak of typhus in the city. You haven't said one fucking word about it, and I can use that accelerant of a word to call you out for it. You haven't said one fucking word about the typhus outbreak, yet you're trying to silence here. This is more of a priority for you? That if the poor people don't get their doxycycline, they will die unnecessarily, but your priority is to silence the critics who are trying to save lives and have an open society here. Moreover, Mr. Wesson, I put in 16 pages with the clerk's office on Friday. As of 7 o'clock this morning when I emailed you, it was not there. They only put it in the file within the past hour. The public has not had the benefit of my 16 pages. You need to pull this item now, or there's going to be an additional complication.
Thank you. Next speaker. Is it you, Mr. Previn? And I want Victor, George, Eugene P. Yes.
Good morning, sir. Little different protocol today, evidently. You're not doing the multiple items. That's fine. Yeah, that's no problem. I just wanted to remind you, sir, that this is a terrible idea and that you already have rules on the book, obviously, that would handily deal with any kind of disruptions that you're having on any kind of a meaningful basis. And I just want to remind all of you that, you know, popular speech is also protected, but it's really the unpopular speech that has to be protected. And when people, you know, from a wide variety of neighborhoods in Los Angeles come down to today, item 15, they didn't want anybody to talk on a haul route in Bonin's district, because Bonin loves haul routes, because then he can celebrate with the people who've been able to build something and get it done. But the people who are pissed about it are not going to, you know, and so people love it when you do these kinds of big set pieces because they can get away with stuff in the margins. And so I ask you to really embrace public scrutiny. Your own 2020 report years ago made it utterly clear, and you all did nothing. So this is an embarrassment for you and your team. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. So then I want to get Mr. Spindler and Mr. Herman. Yes.
My name is Victor Trujillo, and it's a shame. 41 years ago, I was thrown in the street, covered up by LAPD. And I found out after all these years, in 1941, actually back in the 40s, my father was a good friend of Edward Roybal. And my father was a good friend of the Union, of Tom Bradley. And I found out all these years, after all my punishment for like 41 years, and I lost millions of dollars, I found out LAPD officers were involved in my crimes. And I found all the properties they stole from me. And I'm a very educated man. I lost everything. I lost 17 properties in LA County. And I'm no joke. I come here because these people need help. I need help. And we need not disrespect you, but you guys have a job, and I have never received help from none of you people. I speak Spanish. I speak English. But you know what embarrasses me more? When I fight for every right of us together as Americans, but I'll never disturb or disrespect you. Please, if you can, stand up for human rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
You know my name, Herb. I'm the former director of policy for the Congress of Racial Equality of California. Got rid of your filthy OPS. Do you remember that, all fools? 54953.3 cannot ask the name of public speakers. You're breaking the law by asking me my name, fool. And the law says you have to provide a methodology to not ask our names of that stupid thing, so your city attorney is at the state bar with the county general counsel and the rest of your fools. 54954.3b may not prohibit criticizing policies, procedures, programs, or services or acts of omissions of the legislative body like you criminally acting people. 54956.9b, 3d, where a person makes a statement at a public meeting threatening litigation, the statements must be publicly stated or announced. I'm threatening it right now to you, because you've allowed your chief of police to commit crime by erasing the audio of the 5515 Police Commission meeting, which is a PC 132.
So if I could get Eugene, sir, now you're disrupting. Eugene P., and then Mr. Spindler, Mr. Herman. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Start his time all over. Yes.
Yes, my name is Eugene. I'm
member and activist with DSA, and I'm going to try to make this short and concise. I think that this is a no-brainer, given the political climate, to restrict free speech right now, when we literally have fascism consolidating, is as bad and as tone deaf of a decision as all of you and any of you guys can make right here. I think that right now voices need to be heard more so than ever, and silencing those voices that are hurting, that are oppressed, that have lost their lives is as about a dumb decision as you possibly can make at this point in time. If you guys want people to actually trust you guys and vote for you guys and believe in the system, then start representing the people and not just yourselves and the status quo. That is it.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Herman.
Well, I support the motion, so there you go. Me and Herb Wesson, the two best friends of this city. Now, how did this motion get drafted? It was simple. It was on the toilet. Sharon So was getting blown by Councilman Fauble, and then they went ahead and drafted this motion. That's how it happens, on crack. But I still support it. We need to bring decorum back to this room. We need to be able to bring kids to this room without seeing poor blacks, without seeing Latinos. We need moral, upright citizenship and proof of property ownership before you can stand at this podium. Right, Mr. Cedillo? Right, we were having that discussion the other day. So this is a great idea. Already you can see the improvements to the decorum here. Let's pass this motion. Don't make it January 1st. Make it right now today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Herman.
Well, you brought it to our attention. We are now adopting this new Rule 77 in our favor. As you all understand, that this rule is only going to make things better on behalf of all you constituents known as Angelenos. With the absence of our dumbass mayor, Eric Garcetti, other name, Erica, we have Sharon So and Mr. Fauble, the Keebler man, who brought this new rule of council of decorum rules, and we support it. Why do we support it? Because it points out more liability and will generate more revenue for constituents to pocket and bring your bag, because when we show up in the courts in support of this item, I'm sure the First Amendment attorneys will be there in support along with the ACLU and say, good job, folks. You don't have to follow the rules. Just get kicked out of public meetings and collect a check.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Your time's expired. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Herman. Your time has expired. Okay, on this item, there are no more speakers on the queue. There are no more speakers on the queue. All right, so, Madam Clerk, if you would open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, that's approved. All right. Okay, let's go to the next order of business.
Mr. President, there are requests to...
Okay, you're disrupting the meeting, guys. Let us move forward. Go ahead.
Mr. President, there are requests to continue 16G to November 6th.
Okay, hold on one second. Thank you. I'm going to recess the meeting for a few moments so those who want to leave can leave. So we'll be recessed for a few moments. Okay, now let's go back live. I want to call Mr. Previn. Are you Mr. Previn? I see you in the back. Mr. Previn will get 2 minutes because he's already used one. Then it's general public. Mr. Previn, I have you on items 18, 19, 20, all the way to 24, and then your general public comment. So go ahead, sir.
Hello. Thank you. It's Eric Previn from Studio City. I'm on the Neighborhood Council, but today I'm speaking on behalf of myself. You know, there's a couple $100,000 earmarked for Promise Zone cultural affairs, and this is Danielle Brazel, who does a great job of writing up these grants. And in this particular case, I noticed that it's funding a group that is engaged in, you know, they have a great website, but it's a little hard to tell. And then when you look at the funding from last year, when you follow the bouncing ball, it's really just a couple $100,000 for staff. So I don't know. It's not my favorite thing, especially knowing that Englander was hawking her about picking up the cost of his film festival out in the valley. I just wonder if the cultural affairs, you know, they're trying at the county now to make the Arts Association a county department. I just, you know, this is such a cultural melting pot, LA. I don't know that we need too much help from the council members printing up expensive books about their favorite cultural pieces of LA. We got a lot of it, sir. We got a lot of it. When is Taste of Soul? Was it this weekend or coming up? Coming up? You don't want to answer?
No, it's
Taste of Soul? Not relevant. Cultural project. Moving on. Sir, Tesoro, I want to thank Buscaino personally on this. That's an oil company, sir, but they're going to come up with $9 million. That's a lot of money, sir. And guess what for? Community benefit. That's right. So thank you is my first comment. And second of all, you know, I know last week we talked at the little mini Olympic meeting, which was kind of strange, but Janet Evans came down. But, sir, the 160-something million you're going to be feeding into the baby not-for-profits that are helping with the recreational groups, you know, that's Prop K, sir. And today on your agenda, you've got a couple of little rescissions. And one really caught my attention because you're getting rid of your rescission, whatever you do when you rescind something. There it is a press box. And these are not, you know, the big jocks like Cedillo and all
Thank
these
you.
big...
Give him his 1 minute for general public comment now, Mr. Previn. Go right ahead.
All right, well, the general public comments, I'm going to have to go back to the relevant issue, which is you guys are in the process of shuffling around very quickly to move toward a 6-to-1 match with a threshold that prevents anybody from catching you in fundraising here at City Hall. Now, just to be clear, Carolyn Ramsey or Jose Huizar got $225,000 in public dollars. Jose Huizar also had 600-something thousand in IE, just to give you an idea, whereas more than half of the candidates in that same year had nothing. Not a nickel. And yet you want to move in a direction that's going to make it even worse, because the big dogs like Mr. Huizar, no disrespect to the canines, or Mr. Huizar, is going to be able to get, instead of $2.25, $340,000 in public matching money, when a candidate like myself or some of the others you've seen run not get 1 nickel. So, sir, that's not going to cut it. It's an optics problem. I talked about it with Bonin, who's linking closely with Trent Lang of Clean Money, and I talked with Mr. Ruse guy, who needs to get his Keith cut a little bit, Nick Grief. He's a little green. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Let me get Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, you've got items 1 through 5, 18 through 26 in your general public comment. So he gets 2 minutes and then his general public comment.
In regards to item 3, regarding Hermitage and Weddington, it's not that I'm a racist, nor will I ever be, but I do have a tendency to follow rules the way some of you should. And because of the improvement and maintenance off of Weddington Street, although my absent Councilman, Mr. Englander, can't sit in a seat to push a button, it's apparent he doesn't want to hear my protest. So you see, I don't know who's wasting whose time here on this continued hearing, but this ordinance back from October 30th, 2018, the report of my protest is to be submitted as a result under 42 U.S.C. to Michelle Englander, and as Lauren told me, don't say that to Daddy. Fuck you. And then you go to item 5, CD2. Oh, this is Mr. Krikorian. I know who he is. He's dealing with Welby Way. Well, Welby Way is not talking about wetbacks. It's talking about a particular street for street lighting. And we need to shed light where those of us who are here illegally can shine out of the darkness. And then I go to item 18, since we only have a short amount of time to be heard on items. And this item is talking about, no, I'm going to skip 18. I want to talk about why Mr. Bonin is hosting a special reception when he was not here to vote on item 17. I know I'm a little off topic, but as a result, I'm trying to restore the use of
Give
City
him his
Hall.
1 minute
I got
for
3
general
fucking
public.
seconds.
No, you have to stay
1.
on topic. Go ahead.
So I want to thank Mr. Fauble, who looks like the Keebler man. Like I told Mr. Monopoly Man in the past, you know, you do a good job when you bring decorum. And the result of the decorum is going to result in liability against Mike Fuhr and his office. Because why are we paying outside counsel up to $800 to do your rookie job, Mr. Fauble? Why is that? Why aren't you ruling me out of order like you've done in the past? Remember when your dumbasses kicked me out of Van Nuys this past Friday? Well, I don't forget that kind of bullshit. As a protester and as a person of political welfare and well-being, I want to remind you that under motion 42 U.S.C. 1983, the hell with you, fuck you, and get rid of those rats off at City Hall East.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Spindler? Mr. Spindler, you have items 1 through 5, 18 through 26 in general public comment.
Yes, turning into item 3 and 5, which I'll combine. Yes, sir, they're Krikorian items. The product of a half man, half goat. Yes, we don't like this. Lighting for the rich. Why are we taxing especially Welby Way as a fucking ghetto? Take judicial notice of it. It's a fucking ghetto. Just like that little tiny house that Krikorian lives in, if you Google it, the guy hasn't stolen enough money to live in a real house. What a
Get on the
fucking
subject,
bum.
Mr. Spindler, on
the
the subject.
fucking bum. Then we get to 18, this little street banner shit. Over there in Encino, it's going to say, support Spindler settlement. Yes, I support this item. Put that up on the banners because you want to support it. Encino is the home of troublemakers. It's the home of the First Amendment. And
Stay
you
on
want to get rid
topic,
of that.
Mr. Spindler.
Every word out of your mouth, Herb, is not on the topic. I'm going to
No,
say
okay,
that
let's give him his
installing
1
the
minute.
street fucking
Let's give him
banners.
his 1 minute for general
See,
public
little
comment.
dictator, Herb, you got to stop this little dictator stuff because what you're doing is now you passed an ordinance that makes it mandatory that you find any reason whatsoever to cause a disruption and ban people. It's a prior restraint on free speech. And when you look under the Brown Act, what you just did 14-0 was vote something that's ultra vires. That means you can't do it. That means you're personally liable for what you just fucking did. See, that's what it's about. Now, I'm not just going to say this shit, Mr. Blumenfield. I'm going to sue your ass, all right? And I'm going to put you in federal court, and we're going to have a federal judge declare it's ultra vires. Because as long as I get the magic words ultra vires, I get personal liability. And I'm going to sue Blumenfield for one reason only, not you, Herb, because there's a couch behind my fucking house. I've been waiting 3 weeks to get it out of behind my house. I want that fucking couch
Thank you,
behind
Mr.
my...
Spindler. Your time's expired. Mr. Spindler, please take your seat. No, now, Mr. Spindler, take your seat. You're disrupting. Have a seat, Mr. Spindler. Now let me try to get the general public comment. Donna, I've got you. Amador Cuevas, Victor Trujillo. Go right ahead.
Oh, beautiful elephant, correct? Let's make America great again. Like number 17, shutting down protest, we need to reopen Van Nuys video conferencing. To another way to shut people up. Don't give us access for the disabled. Anyway, I want to tell people to vote Republican, folks. Ricardo Benitez for 39, Bernito Benel instead of Cardenas, John Cox for governor. Only vote for Proposition 5, 6, and 11. No bond issues. It's the same issues not being handled correctly with another new number. No transparencies. These new bonds will be misused just like the previous bond issues. The water, the homeless, the streets, whatever it is, won't be done. It's just another bond issue with another number not being done. Vote no on bond issues. People will vote Republican.
Thank
Yes!
you. Thank you. Victor, followed Amador, followed by Mr. Gus. Yes.
After I'm done, can I represent my uncle? He speaks Spanish, so I could interpret for
We
him.
have interpreters, so
Oh,
you
perfect.
go ahead.
Okay, can I start again?
Go ahead. Let's give him his 1 minute. He asked. Now go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Victor Trujillo. I'm here because I have issues. My uncle actually has one that I actually backed him up because I knew about the killings in the family, and I knew it was connected to LAPD. When they stole his property, they tried to, and the tenant confessed that he was working with detectives and attorneys out of Van Nuys, and the guy confessed and told us what he was doing to steal the properties. My uncle got kidnapped, tried to be three attempted kidnaps by his house in Rialto, but I told him exactly when it was going to happen. That's the kind of information I have, because when people were police officers used to dance at parties and everybody talks. So I'm going back 30, 40 years ago. So now I know what's going on. Now, my uncle does need assistance. LAPD started an investigation. Look into it, please. Don't ignore a man that's a senior citizen. Thank you.
Next speaker.
I would like to have an interpreter.
Yeah, if we could have, she's headed your
help
way,
me?
sir.
Oh. Mi nombre es Amador Cuevas Martínez
My name is Amador Cuevas Martínez,
y estoy buscando la ayuda de ustedes si es que pueden
and I'm looking for help. If you can help me,
para agarrar un police report
so I can get my police report
en una declaración que hizo el arrendatario
one of the statements that my tenant did,
que él estaba envuelto en la conspiración para robarme mi propiedad.
and he was involved in the conspiration to steal my property.
He tenido 2 juicios,
I lost 2
juicios
lawsuits
irregularmente hechos.
that were done in an irregular manner.
Uno por 2.8 millones
One of them was 2.1 million,
and la otro es por 3.2 millones de dólares
and the other one for $3.2 million
por un caso que nunca sucedió y tengo las pruebas de ello.
for a case that never happened, and I do have the evidence.
Yo quiero reabrir el caso si ustedes me pueden ayudar.
I want to reopen the case if you can help me.
Eso es todo lo que quiero decir y que
That-
Dios los bendiga.
That's all I want to say, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Daniel Gus, I write a column for City Watch. I speak for myself, though. Mr. Wesson, are you aware last week when Mr. Previn came up here to share his thoughts, Englander taunted him on his way up here, and he said, well, I would ask you to be fair and honest, but you're usually not, so go on ahead with your comment. I don't know any time that Eric Previn has ever dropped an F-bomb. He won an award for excellence from the LA Press Club. So you guys need to check yourselves on decorum. Go watch the video last week. I put it in my column on City Watch. Englander taunted Previn, who never drops a vulgarity. And he said, I would tell you to be fair and honest, but you're usually not, so go ahead. Where was Mr. Fauble reining in Mr. Englander when he was tormenting a genteel and polite, award-winning journalist like Eric Brevin?
Okay, thank you. Hold on a second. Now, Madam Clerk, let's vote on a few items here. I didn't call you. I'm going to call you. Just sit down, relax. Everybody's going to be heard. No. Now you're disrupting. Just sit down until we get back into public comment. Let's vote on items 1 through 5. So let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Madam Clerk, did you want to say something?
Yes, Mr. President. There are requests to continue item 16G to November 6, 2018, as well as 16B should be continued to October 16, 2018, sir.
Okay, so ordered. Now I'd like to vote on items 18 through 26. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
$15 ayes.
Thank you. Okay, George now, and Robert. Is there Robert here? Robert Suture?
Mr. President, there is an amendment for...
Let's hold off, Sharon. Let's let this gentleman speak, and then we'll get to that. So do we have Robert? Okay, George, I think you'll be closing this out.
You signed up for 2 items other than public comment?
I've got you on general public comment now. You spoke earlier. We'll reset your clock.
No. I signed up on death of Reginald McClendon and oversized vehicle parking. What's wrong with your operation here?
The start is time. No, George, public hearing was already satisfied on those items. You've been given...
You have to let me speak to him.
No. Give him his 1 minute. Sharon, do not stop the clock. Go right ahead.
Okay, your criminal organization again, which is why your city attorney is on its way to the state bar. The state bar asked me for more. On top of that, in the 5/5/15 LAPD Police Commission meeting, 4 days after that, 5/19, I came into this place and gave you proof that they erased the audio to the meeting, okay? That's a PC 132, a felony with no statute of limitations when loaded to the web. Yeah, it's really funny, Buscaino, you idiot. Your police agency is a criminal organization, and you're laughing,
Keep it down.
you fool.
We're not going to let you break our mics. Go on.
I'm sorry, it's my turn. And that idiot's laughing about your police and you too breaking the law, being criminals, federal felons, because when they load it to the web, you idiots, it becomes interstate commerce, and now you can all go down for Hobbs Act, government corruption, and RICO organized crime, you idiots.
Okay, that should conclude general public comment. Is anybody here? I think that I called everybody I did. I'm going to ask for Robert again. Okay, Madam Clerk, that concludes the general public comment. That brings us where?
Mr. President, there is an amendment for 16E that has been submitted and posted and circulated for council's consideration, and also items 24. There is a request to have that go forthwith, sir.
If we can move those forthwith, without objection.
Mr. President, 16E can be voted on as amended, sir.
Great, if we could open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes. Mr. President, there are requests to continue 16C, D, H, and J 30 days to November 6th, sir.
Without objection.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Post and referred. Now, any announcements, members? Looking to my left, Councilman Buscaino side, announcements? No. Looking to my right, any announcements? Seeing none, let's all rise for adjourning motions. I'm going to look to my right, Councilmember Corrett's side. No. Moving to my left, Councilman Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe, Mr. Ryu, you wanted to join me in this adjourning motion. Colleagues, I rise and adjourn in memory of Alex Spanos, longtime Charger owner, and passed away at 95 years old, leaving behind a legacy in football. Born to Greek immigrants Constantino and Eventia Spanos, his father owned a bakery, a true immigrant story, Mr. Cedillo. They owned a bakery in Stockholm, and this was where he learned his entrepreneur skills at a young age of 8, where he worked with his father at the bakery. He went on to join the U.S. Air Force, training as a pilot, but went on to serve as a tail gunner during World War II. Mr. Spanos truly embodies the American dream. From very humble beginnings, he built a real estate empire and became the owner of an NFL franchise. Mr. Spanos was involved in several charities with his wife, including those that support hospitals, universities, scholarship funds, youth programs, sports programs, churches, and schools. In fact, the Los Angeles Chargers today is ever present throughout the city of Los Angeles. As you all know, in 2017, the Chargers found their new home in Los Angeles, and it's such incredible loss for our city. Despite his accomplishments, he often said that he took great pride in his family. He had 4 children, 15 grandchildren, 12 great-grandchildren. His wife, Faye, recently passed away just 2 months ago. In lieu of flowers, donations can be sent in the name of Alex Spanos to the following charities: American Legion, the Stockton Scholars Endowment Fund at University of the Pacific, the Discovery Challenge Academy, and the YMCA of San Joaquin County. Our hearts go out to the entire Spanos family. He had a tremendous impact on his friends, his family, athletes, and fans. Alex Spanos, may he rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. And yes, I would like to join in the memory of Mr. Alex Spanos. We got the news this morning that Alex passed away, and we lost a California icon. And while, as Mr. Buscaino stated, while Alex Spanos is most well known for owning the Chargers and running the football team for over 2 decades, before passing on the responsibility to his children, his story, like many of our stories, is a classic tale of the California dream. He was the son of Greek immigrants, and he built an empire through grit, determination, and hard work. Not only did he build housing up and down the state, not only did he run a football team for 2 decades and brought them to Los Angeles, and not only was he an incredible philanthropist, but most importantly, he loved and supported his family and leaves behind a legacy for his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren that would be very proud of. And you know that just 2 months ago, I adjourned one of the meetings in memory of Faye Spanos, Alex's wife, who passed away in August of this year. Faye met Alex when she was just 18, and she was the love of Alex's life. Their life together and their marriage of 70 years was perhaps the greatest thing they built, and was a love affair like no other. Together, they built a family, a fortune, and a number of community projects in their adopted home of Stockton. Alex loved Faye, and as sad as we are here to say goodbye to this California legend, I take a bit of solace knowing that he's back with the love of his life. So thank you. And Mr. President, Mr. Wesson?
Rise to on this. We had an intern in our office named Philip Rule that we didn't even know was Alex's grandson. He was his last year at UCLA. He was the starting fullback and just a phenomenal person. And we met the family by accident once at lunch, even though Philip was a graduate from UCLA, his sister was a graduate from USC. So there is a connection, I think, between my office and that family, a great family, and I'd like to be one of the signers on that adjourning motion.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Mr. Wesson. And so there'll be 3 signers on that. Any other adjournments?
You know, I want to adjourn in the memory of a young man that had some issues named Kevin Ellison. Many of you may remember this name because he was an SC student and a top flight football player, defensive back. I think he was identified or recognized twice as the Pac-10 Player of the Year. He then went on and had a short career with the then San Diego Chargers. I rise to acknowledge him because he grew up with my kids. He was a little younger, but they kind of all grew up together, and he comes from a family where his dad was the basketball coach of our former colleague, Gilbert and Paul, in the assembly. Tony Strickland played basketball. Kevin's dad was his basketball coach. His other brother, Keith, played Pop Warner football like we did and coached. And even though the kid was like 9, he was playing against kids that were 12. He was that good. His older brother, Chris, played for BYU, and I think that Sarkisian was his coach. So it was a family that understood sports and were very good athletes and worked very hard at it. He had some mental issues, and what his family is going to do, they're going to donate his brain to one of the universities back east so that they can study it to see if he had any issues where it relates to adverse effects to a concussion. He died a few days ago, and we just got the call over the weekend. He walked out onto the freeway, the 5 freeway in the valley. And I just want us to adjourn in his memory. And I think it just shows that life can change for us or you or at any moment. But I remember when he was a kid, and he was a good, solid kid from a good, solid, very talented family. So, and he was also, the brother Chris was one of my commissioners at a point in time. So I'd like for us to adjourn in the memory of this young man, and hopefully he can find peace.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson. Seeing no other adjournments, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I'm not just an environmentalist at work, but I am an environmentalist at heart. 70% of the world's surface is covered by water. In order to see the world, you really have to be in the water. I was a scuba dive instructor and realized that I had a passion for the ocean and needed to work as a marine biologist. So when the position in water quality came up, I knew that was my job. As an environmental specialist at the Port of Los Angeles, I wear many hats. I primarily oversee stormwater quality. I am the sustainability coordinator for the Port of Los Angeles, and I oversee the management of a 15-acre endangered California least-tern nesting site. We at the Harbor Department ensure that the birds are as successful as they can be. My job is to go around and visit all of our tenants, from the large industrial operators to the restaurants, the municipal fish markets, and everything in between, to ensure that we have the highest quality of water entering the harbor waters. The Environmental Management Division was founded in the 70s. We were the first environmental management division in the city of Los Angeles. We now support 20 full-time staff members and an additional 30 contracted employees. We've been entrusted through the Tidelands Trust to be an economic engine as well as stewards of the environment. So although this is an industrial port complex,